Alright, it's Scott again with Scott's Thoroughbred Restorations. So this thing is finally back together again, and found some interesting stuff when I did this. So it wasn't just the contact points on the inside of this. There's plenty of other YouTube videos about the contact points and the little brush that rubs against that wire. I talked about it a little bit before. But that is not where the real problem was. Once we got the armature in there that contacts the little wires that are on this side of it, once we got that set right, I still was getting inconsistent readings through here. And what I discovered was that the electrical path for this runs through the pivot itself. Right here, that guy. And so the contact comes from this housing to this pivot. It runs through that, then goes through the windings, and then back out on this side. So you can see, if I make it clear here, the windings are attached to this guy. Right in here, this is where the contact point is. You see this insulator that's here. And so, in order for this to work properly, the pivot here must be extremely clean. Extremely clean. Because if it's not clean, let's see if I can get this to focus on here. If this is not perfectly clean, the edges of that pivot, you see how shiny it is now, this thing is not going to conduct properly, and we are not going to get good readings. So when I cleaned that off, I took this little Dremel and I ran it on here on the side of the pivot. And the pivot can move back and forth, by the way. There's a little spring in there, so if you push on it on this side, you can get it to move in and out. And then I took this back out of here again, and inside the little pivot hole there, I ran a piece of 1500 grit sandpaper, wadded up in a tiny little, here it is right here, like this, to create this little thing. And I put it in there, and I ran it through the hole in there, ran it back and forth. Lo and behold, put it back together, get perfect readings. So that is the it for finally getting this thing all assembled. I think everything else is pretty straightforward. There are other people on YouTube that are putting these things together, but that little bit of information about this particular unit, the 64.5 unit, and how critical it is that those pivots be clean so you get good electrical contact is absolutely necessary. Absolutely necessary. All right, that's it. I think the only thing we have left here is to cosmetically make this look better once it goes on, before it goes on the car here, this end of it, and that's just a little bit with the wire wheel and maybe a little bit of refinishing. We have to do a little replating there, but otherwise I think we're in pretty good shape. Mechanically it works, electrically it works, and no more noise in this pivot. There was noise in the pivot before when we moved it, and that was because of all that dirt that was inside of there. But all fixed now. Everything else looked good. The fuel sock looks fine. I'm going to leave that on there. Cleaned up the float. Float turned out great, no pinholes. We took the wire wheel to the armature there that the float's attached to, and just basically cleaned off any loose gunk off of here, and it's ready to go in the car. Well, there you go. If this video was helpful, please click like. See you next time.